And joining me now is Chris Johnson. He is the Managing Director of Anagenix Limited. Chris, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
No problems. Now, can you tell me a little bit about how Anagenix started?
Yeah, be happy to. Anagenix started off in about 2010 with the intention of being a raw material ingredient supplier to the nutraceutical and functional food industries globally.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the products and the innovation behind it.
So our first product was a product called Actazin, which we make out of green kiwi fruit. Green kiwi fruit in New Zealand is known, if you've got any constipation or discomfort in the bowel, to take a couple. So we literally took that idea and we developed a product around that. We start our science program with in vitro, which is benchtop test tube. We then go to animal in vivo trials and we end up doing clinicals to prove it out. And we did that with Actazin, and we showed that we increased bowel regularity by in excess of 25% in healthy cohorts. So that was significant. And now that product has gone globally. America is our biggest market because we've been in America the longest, but it's a substantial ingredient.
And of course, a lot of people do have bowel complaints, and so this product has obviously been seen, as a good way to reduce the problems.
Well, 30% of the world plus has some form of constipation, whether it's down the IBS, IBD, functionally constipated, or just general day-to-day issues, women, menstrual cycles, etc. So it's a big market, and a lot of the products in the market are over-the-counter drugs, urgent. So, you've got your fibres, which tend to have bloating and discomfort. You have urgency, where we've got a natural product, a natural fruit, and, it just happens naturally. And it works, and that's why, we have such a high retention of customer or consumer once they've taken our product.
So you mentioned obviously quite a high demand in the US market. Where else globally are you finding your products are being introduced?
Well, Asia is really our next biggest market. We're doing very well in Asia generally. China, we struggled in China for 2.5, 3 years. I was up there most years, and 3 or 4 times a year, and we didn't really get a foothold in there. However, we this year opened up Anagenix China with some China partners that are very well known in the industry, and that has really leveraged our products into the China market. China is all about knowing the people, the networks, and a New Zealand company, certainly a small one like Anagenix, struggles to get that continuity of networks without a partner up there.
So Chris, can you tell me about some of the other products that you've got in your range?
Yes, not a problem. We've got another product out of kiwi fruit. Actazin is with the green kiwi fruit, the Hayward variety. The Livox product is out of the gold kiwi fruit. So that product is similar to Actazin, except for we have shown it as a very, very powerful prebiotic. We all have a big group of good bacteria called Faecalibacterium in our microbiome, and that actually is the largest grouping of good bacteria, and we have shown that we can increase that by in excess of 100%. So, the prebiotic market is really starting to trend now.
Absolutely.
Probiotics have been around for a long time. Now, prebiotics are becoming a very, very important part of the daily intake for consumers. So that's an exciting opportunity because it's a prebiotic out of a whole fruit, where all the other prebiotics on the market are extractions from either corn or sugar cane, etc. So it's a whole fruit. So that's an exciting product for us. Another product we've got is a product called Berry Chi. We've done a collaboration with Plant and Food. They developed a product over a number of years with boysenberry showing the effect on lung health. We have taken that and we have added other products into the formulation, and we have continued the science with plant and food, and we have shown that we can bring unhealthy lungs caused by pollution and other kind of external factors back to almost normal. So that's an exciting product for us, certainly in the Asian markets.
I was going to say the Asian market would be lapping that up.
Yeah. Well, pollution there is a real concern. Mothers with children are very concerned. It's probably one of the biggest markets for smokers, and we think it can have some effect on smoking. So that's an exciting product.
So tell me, I mean, obviously your market is a huge market, but it's also a very competitive market. How do you stay on top of things?
We have to differentiate ourselves. We spend a lot of time. It's silly doing the same things what everybody else is doing. It just becomes a price war then. It demarginalises your products. So we go out and we build science around our products, and we come up with a different concept or a different idea, and we build efficacy around that. So the consumer, at the end of the day, feels comfort that the science has been done, there have been clinicals and shown results. And then in, most situations, when they take the product, they get, a relatively immediate effect, which, just again, proves to them that it's got some efficacy to it. The product.
So have you got obviously a lot of innovators in your team working alongside plant and food, researching products on a regular basis? So
we look at a lot of science institutions. Plant and food's just one of them. Right. Universities, there are a lot of brilliant academics out there that are pointing the science into an academic outcome. We try and get involved a little bit earlier and point it to a commercial outcome.
Okay.
Because that then helps tell the story and get a product into market.
So what do you expect your growth to be in the next 2 to 5 years?
We're certainly doubling every year, and once we get some of these products really embedded in, like at the moment we're doing a second clinical for Actazin and Livox, and 2 clinicals. The big brands like Swiss and Blackmore's, now demand 2 clinicals. So that's going to dramatically help our sales. So it's just time. It's, building a story, building the science, and just kind of knocking on doors.
So do you see that your market is mainly internationally because New Zealand is so small, even though a lot of your products are founded here?
96% of our income is from overseas. We have a very small array of customers in New Zealand. And I think there are probably 2 reasons for that. Firstly, with our digestive health and kiwi fruit products, we all know we've been brought up, if you have a problem, you go and get a couple of kiwi fruit. And because they're so prolific down here, even out of season, they're always available. So that's one of the problems. Secondly, that New Zealand companies tend to want to go and look overseas because they think it's probably a better story, bringing something from overseas back to New Zealand. So we actually do very little with New Zealand companies.
Right. Chris, I wanted to ask you, coming from good old New Zealand, good old Kiwi land, does that help the brand?
Definitely. But saying that, there's only so much leverage you can get out of that story. Consumers in America, China, Asia look very favourably upon New Zealand. They like products out of New Zealand. But at the end of the day, you have to have a product story, you have to have a brand, and you have to have the science to back up the story for them to really take it up.
So you've got to have a product that works.
Yeah. And if you've got a product with the science and the story,
yeah.
New Zealand is just a nice extra tick for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's an important one. We're a New Zealand company and we promote ourselves very heavily as a New Zealand company.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in, and we wish you all the best for the future, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Okay.